The next morning, I woke up in my room, half expecting everything to have been a dream. A weird, rain-soaked, magical dream. But then I saw it, the faint golden mark on my wrist, glowing softly in the morning light. It was a tiny, intricate tattoo of a fox, and it was a permanent reminder that nothing was normal anymore. My whole world felt different, like someone had cranked up the volume on reality. My senses buzzed. I could hear a bee hovering just outside my window, its tiny wings beating a frantic rhythm. I could smell the rain on the pavement minutes before the first drop even fell. I could even feel the heartbeat of the city, a deep, steady pulse thrumming right up through the floorboards and into my bones. It was overwhelming, and honestly, a little terrifying. And just when I thought things couldn't get any stranger, he appeared again. Kieran. This time, he was at my school, leaning against my locker, like he'd been waiting there his whole life. His gray hoodie was still damp from the storm, and his calm, gray eyes watched me approach. "You made your choice," he said, his voice quiet but firm, cutting through the hallway chatter. "Now you need to learn to live with it." He didn't have to explain what he meant. The glowing mark on my wrist was answer enough. That night, I made a choice to trust him. I followed Kieran into the city's depths, to a place I never knew existed, an abandoned subway tunnel, hidden far beneath the bustling streets. This was the secret base of the Wardens of the Wild. The moment I stepped inside, I gasped. The damp, curved walls weren't covered in graffiti, but in ancient murals of animals. Wolves, hawks, stags, and foxes, each one painted with incredible detail. As I walked past, they seemed to come alive, glowing faintly with an inner light. And I wasn't alone. There were others there, kids my age, all of them like me. Each one carried a piece of a wild spirit. I saw a girl whose eyes were the color of storm clouds, crackling with barely contained energy. I saw a boy whose shadow moved an instant before he did, stretching and twisting in impossible ways. They were the Wardens, and now, I was one of them. They started to train me, teaching me how to channel my new fox instincts. Speed, stealth, illusion. It sounded cool, but controlling it was a nightmare. My powers were tied to my emotions. When I got angry, my powers surged, completely out of my control. Once, I got so frustrated in class that I turned invisible for 3 hours. I just vanished. My teacher thought I'd skipped. My friends thought I'd been kidnapped. I was sitting right there the whole time, screaming, but no one could see or hear me. Another time, I caught my reflection in a shop window and nearly had a heart attack. It wasn't my face staring back. It was the snarling, wild face of a fox, its eyes burning with orange fire. The other Wardens warned me constantly that balance was everything. If I lost control, the fox spirit could consume me entirely, leaving nothing of Jade behind. But as my powers grew stronger, so did the threat against us. The hunters were getting bolder. News reports started flooding in about strange disappearances across the city. People found dazed and confused, completely drained of energy, with their eyes glowing a faint, eerie blue. It was then that Kieran confessed the terrible truth. One of the Wardens had betrayed us. They had sold our secrets, our location, everything, to the hunters. And what did they get in return? A promise of immortality. That very night, our sanctuary was breached. The tunnels began to tremble with the heavy thud of footsteps. The hunters had found us. Kieran and I fought side by side, the dark tunnels exploding with light and sound. The air crackled with raw power, illusions shimmered, spectral claws slashed through the air, and blasts of pure energy collided, shaking the very foundations of the city above. Then, through the smoke and chaos, the traitor appeared. It was Lies, the girl with the storm cloud eyes. "You think these spirits make us special?" She sneered, her voice dripping with contempt. "They make us slaves. I'm just setting us free." Before I could even process her words, she unleashed a terrifying blast of lightning that threw Kieran against the wall, and he crumpled to the ground. A rage like nothing I'd ever felt before erupted inside me. It wasn't just my anger. It was the fox spirits. I felt it roar, a wild, ancient power burning through my veins like molten gold. Shadows twisted around me as the mark on my wrist flared, blindingly bright. "Maybe you're right," I said, and my voice was different, layered with the deep, guttural growl of the fox. "But freedom doesn't mean destruction." And then I charged. When the dust finally settled, the tunnels were silent. Lies was gone, vanished back into the shadows she came from. But I knew this wasn't over. The hunters would regroup, and the fox spirit's true power was only just beginning to awaken within me. Standing over the cracked murals, I looked at Kieran, who was slowly getting to his feet. I whispered, if I'm going to protect this city, I need to find out who the fox really was. Its history, its purpose. Kieran met my gaze and nodded, a new determination in his eyes. Then our next mission begins, and somewhere, deep in the night, a single fox's howl echoed through the sleeping city, ancient, wild, and free. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss what happens next.